So I usually have a template for this Millimix project. I have certain sounds that I usually use majority of the time. I'm trying out a different drum machine here. I forget what it's called, like an SP something. I forget, but I have all these samples and I use it. So what I usually do is I like to create a one measure of a kick snare and cymbals. So I have this. Well, I'm going to copy and paste that throughout the whole. I'll make maybe like a 5 minutes of just the drum track. So I will copy and paste this. And again, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea what song, what chords I'm going to do, but all I want to start with is a drum beat. And I like to do this reverse style of writing. So I use this virtual instrument called the FM8. It basically emulates the DX7 Yamaha, which was very popular in the mid to late 80s. So a lot of the sounds besides the drums, all those little bells sound, the bass, the guitar samples, the synth pads, everything, a lot comes from this that I use in conjunction with some other virtual instruments I have on board. But this is kind of what has been my go-to. I mean, I don't use any outboard gear these days. I mean, you can do everything in the box, and from a workflow perspective, it is essential. And now I added the good old electric piano sound that is very reminiscent of the mid to late 80s. So, and I can change the tempo later if I want. It's all in MIDI. So if I start singing and I'm like, yeah, it's too slow, I speed it up. And vice versa. If I want to slow it down even more, I can do that as well. Right now, I can just tell, just because of the kick and snare being very basic, 1, 2, 1, da, boom, boom, da, I feel like a running type of arpeggiated bass would sound really good. That's what I'm thinking. So let's add that and see what happens. I want to make it arpeggiate. See, I'm at 118. I just changed it, the tempo, just so it can be at an even number. Right before I had it like 116.5. So I'm thinking, well, what do I do? So if I have an arpeggiated sound, well, actually, let's get the bass sound here. There we go. Well, that's too fast. I don't want it arpeggiating like that. Then I asked Google, hey, Google, what is 118 divided by 2?
The answer is 59.
Thank you, Google. And Google will tell me that because basic math doesn't register with me that well. That might work because it's kind of a, let's see how that works. Oh, I like it. It works. Let's see. Maybe I'll do that up there until we get to the chorus. I quantize it later. I put the bass in temporarily. I'll fix it. Favorite thing to do? Synthesizer. The voice synth is so eerie and has such a warm sound that it actually just really sits well in the production. It's not too tinny and sticks out. It's just kind of like this warm, like, ride. Has a natural sustain, so I don't really need to hold it down too long. Versus a little less. Don't want to get in the way of the vocals. And I'll probably mix it lower too in the mix. Says 80s more than the bell sound. So I'm gonna write this part for the intro. And I love how cheeseball that sounds. You can't have 80s without cheeseball, right? And then again. Use the bell sound again. And usually I'm just gonna do like just whole notes. It'll be like, and I usually do that for the chorus. So it's like this. I love this little guitar synth sound. Listen to that. It has a little bit of ambience at the end. A little bit of reverb, decay. So then I will use this as a supplement. Let's see what we'll do. The goal is not to have too many moving parts that kind of start to intertangle with each other. You have to always give room for each instrument. So here it is with the starting at the chorus with the bell sound. And that's a guitar part right up there. Notice something. The drive doesn't sound, I mean the bass kind of drives it. But and we're doing only quarter notes on the hi-hat, and it's kind of not giving it that movement, right? So what can you add? So I'm going to add an eighth note of some sort. I'm thinking of putting my tambourine in. This is what it's going to sound like with the tambourine. I'll play it live right now, and then I'll record it later. But so basically, this is how it goes. But then if you add the tambourine, which I'll record, see how that drives it? And check how this now gives gives the song a little bit of movement. Added that tambourine. Just something basic, you know. Might have to nudge it a little bit. It's a little bit off, but yeah. I'm thinking a shaker too. What do you think? I think a shaker sounds will be good, but I don't want to imitate too much of the tambourine. I'm going to give it a little bit more of a different feel. So what about this for the verses? Alright, I feel good about it. Sometimes I derive some of the melody ideas by just the things I write instrumental. I'm like, oh, that might sound good. Or even like harmonies, I'll play something, a chord on my like on the synth, and I'm like, whoa, you know what, that might sound good with like oohs and ahs harmonizing during the chorus or something like that. You know what I think this needs? It needs a little ambient clap. But where are we gonna put such a thing? Well, I guess we could put it in the chorus where it starts to build up, so let's do that. Hide it right underneath the snare. I want to thicken out the chorus. I want to make this the big part of the song. The other idea is I had a soft voice pad, but I didn't have like a synth string sound. And I'm doing it an octave lower than what I did with the voice synth when it was up here. So I want to do like a more of a... So let's see what that sounds like. Ready? There we go. I like it. I will use it. Really thickens out the chorus now too. Listen to that. When you listen to it all together, just the synths. To add the synth in the beginning, I felt like that really opens up the song really well. Listen to this. So what I decided is I have a different sound for another cymbal. It's a little bit more high pitch, a little bit more extremely staccato compared to this one. This one has a little bit of like a tick. The other one's more like tick. Yeah, I get kind of particular. So now with this 8th note playing cymbals, it has a better feel. It drives it more, and I feel like the cymbal is actually riding at the same tempo as the bass writing, if that makes sense. So listen to this. It's this one right here. Oh, it just sounds so much better now. Take it out. It works, but I'm gonna make this just a little saturated. Sound I like. I'm gonna use it in the song. I would say the best part was that bell sound, so I'm going to double it up in the beginning. So listen to this. I'm going to layer that with the bell. Let's write that little lead synth sound. Here we go. A rim shot, and I put some ambience to it just to give it some texture in the chorus. So let's see how that would sound. Added it, but it's so faint in the background. I don't want it sticking out like a sore thumb. So it's like there, but you miss it if it's gone. So it sounds like this. Very faint. Here it is louder. But I am saturating it, so it's not like this. Added another piece. So as you know, the bass does this little sound. It's kind of running. It's kind of staccato run, like this. Dun, 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 dun. It's not like a boom, 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 boom. It's like dun, 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 dun. So I added another piece. Now I copied and pasted and used a different sound, and it sounds like this. Now, so that's on top of this. May have to change the decay on it, but see, now make active. Now I put a Echo Boy Jr. on it. I love this thing. Gave it a 16th note delay. Yeah. But on top of this, the actual bass, as you can see, same performance, just I copied and pasted the MIDI into a different sampler, virtual synth. So this is how it sounds in the mix. Hear that? Now it really drives the song. Now that the bass is going at a 16th note speed, I felt like, okay, so then I had the cymbals, right? It goes tick, 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 tick. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have another one, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got 8 notes, and then you got quarter notes. Why don't we add another one? So I have the quarter note's going to be on the left. The 8th notes are on the right. And in the middle, I have the 16th note one. Hear that? I know you can't really hear the pan on the recording since it's in mono, but let's listen to it without the 16th note symbol. This is how it sounds. Sounds good. Let's add it in now. All right, we'll add it on this time around, right here. Gives it such a drive, and it's good at accenting the 16th beat bass. The bass is so boom, 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 boom. This gives it that little high to it, so it kind of imitates it, and it's in a different frequency. And the way I look at production is a lot of not just necessarily what elements you put in there, but also the frequency of those elements. So you don't want too much of the same low end or the same high end if you're going to use a cymbal. So you can't really hear it, but these cymbals, except for the 16th note and the 18th note, they have the similar sound. However, since they have the similar sound, I want to make sure that they're not anywhere near each other in the same channel. I want to make sure one is panned right. And then the other one, if it's similar, I put it in the middle. But if it's a different performance. Another thing is the frequency spectrum. You do not want to have too many things in the same frequency. That's why sometimes if I do a synthesizer pad, I want to make sure that one, if it's in a higher register, then the other one's going to have to be in a lower register, or even a higher register than the first one. But even when I do like a lead of something, like whether it's a lead synth, I still saturate it enough that it's in the mix, not like sticking out like a sore thumb too loud. So look at this. You see these little tabs here? In the session, I like to map everything out. You see intro, verse, and then there's a chorus over here, and so on and so forth, with the bridge and outro. And then I have end. Now, the reason I do that is, for obvious reasons, they're little place marks, so if I need to go back to like verse 2, I can go to it in a heartbeat. And I use a memory locator. And look how this little memory locator here, see? I can go to start right here, and watch this. I'll go to start and then to the bridge so you can see how it can jump around. And then I want to go to the bridge. Let's go to chorus 3. Let's go to verse 2. And it just jumps around in the session. Look at that. It is so helpful in the workflow. And I can listen to different things. For this song, I kind of copy and paste it at the very end, if you listen. It just does the same thing over and over again. Now the reason is, look, it's all the way to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Obviously, if I'm looping that and it's just an outro, you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the awesome fade out. And I'll show you that here. Let's see, I'll show you really quick. So here it goes. And I use this little PreSonus fader. It's a single fader, but I love it. It gives me a little bit more precise accuracy with any kind of automation, especially the automation with volume, you know, for vocals and also for the master. Okay. There we go. Actually, let me do that again. I I faded it too quick.
Uncaged.
I'm gonna play a few times around. Do one more time. Start there. As you can tell, I'm slowly fading it. The red is what I'm recording. I have it right now on auto touch. Really, really slow because otherwise it sounds too jumpy. There we go. All the way. Bam! Fade out. I'll go more into detail about the vocals in another session. It's just probably going to be a little bit too much in this tutorial. Basically, I just wanted you to see how I write the pieces, and then I can kind of get more into detail about specifically with the vocals. I'll use this song as a reference, and thank you for watching.